Hi, this is Ushio and welcome back to Angels with Scaly Wings. In the last part, we finally saw Adine do her stunt flying competition. She got third place. I thought she did pretty well, to be honest, but she seemed a bit disappointed. But it's fine. We're going to carry on today. We're going to hang out with Remy and Amelia. Amelia also came to Adine's stunt flying show with us. And now we're kind of acquainted. We seem to be chilling out a little bit more. Here goes the doorbell. Hello. That should be both of them. There they are. Good to see you guys. And at least this time you skipped the lipstick, Remy. Good to see you too. Yeah, good to see you. I'm surprised you didn't bring Amelie with you. She's a pretty rambunctious hatchling, and we needed a bit of rest from her massive amounts of energy, so we had Adine babysit her for a few hours until we got back. Oh, I see. Mum and Dad need some alone time after all. Yeah. Just the fact that I'm actually a father is so surreal to me. I bet you still haven't gotten used to waking up in the morning and having Amelia next to you. No, I admit I haven't. It still feels like a dream. I'm right here, you know. Yes, you are. I can't help but wonder if this is how I act around Anna. Not to interrupt this cute little moment between you two, but right. Though, I wouldn't mind if we took our time to be discreet. We don't quite want to cause a stir with Amelia out there. Or you could stop beating around the bush and tell him you don't want to leave yet. What? I'm not sure I follow. I haven't actually been in here since I prepared the apartment for you. Oh, is this what we're doing then? Okay, I'll buy it. Have you read any of the books I got you? You stocked the bookshelf in this timeline as well, I assume. They're all library books. I wanted to provide you with a good sample of what we have to offer, so there should be something in there for anyone. Some were okay, some flew over my head, and some are kinda cheesy. Oh, what did you read? I got about a quarter of the way through Price and Prayer after Adine kept recommending it to me, but it felt like I lacked context in that one. I also read a bit of Sheridan. Wasn't exactly highbrow, but it was entertaining. Draconic Desire actually came in handy with Anna, and I loathe to admit it. You read Draconic Desire. It was certainly something. A lot of it was pretty much drivel, that I still wonder how it got to print, but that one part where the main character observed runners rubbing their snouts under the chin of their partner. I tried it on Anna. She called me an idiot, but I think she liked it. I'm not sure I would have admitted that to anybody. Yeah, isn't that like a highly intimate thing? I've got nothing to hide. Anyways, can I offer you some food or drink? I've barely used any of the stuff in the kitchen. Why not? You know, across all the cycles, I never really had time to experiment with what was or wasn't edible for me. Most of the things I ate were either in the restaurant, the bar, or at your place. And Bryce's barbecue, and their eggs from the fridge. Maybe it wasn't such a good idea to get you all those perishables then. I wanted to provide you with a bit of everything, considering I had to prepare the apartment for someone I didn't really know anything about. I didn't forget to clean the fridge and the pantry every few days this time, so at least nothing's spoiled in there at the moment. Good to know. Still, I didn't consider all the implications of doing something like this. Had you eaten the wrong thing, you could be in hospital. Don't stress yourself about it. Honestly, someone would have to be pretty reckless to just go ahead and start munching on things they don't know anything about. If anybody was smart enough to be sent here, they probably wouldn't take a risk like that. Well, I'm glad to hear it. So you tasted Remy's cooking? Yeah, it is pretty damn good for someone who's self-taught. I'm still trying to wrap my head around the concept that the Remy I'm talking to is a future self of his. Back in my timeline, he could barely crack an egg. To be fair, I still can't do it very well. My forepaws aren't suited for such a task. Still, you cook a mean auroch steak. I'm glad you like it. What about the wine? Bryce chugged both bottles last time he was here. I barely got a glass worth. It was pretty bad. About as bad as every other timeline you and I try it out in. I see. I really think we should get going soon. I've still got plans for meeting up with Anna later on in the afternoon, so we should try to get as much fun out of this as we can. Agreed. Here, here. Let's go, let's go. This is strange. Usually there'd be a crowd by now. Maybe they moved it an hour for daylight reasons, and to improve the visibility of the fireworks? That's a very specific assumption. That's what Zhong usually says when we find him around here. There he is now. Hey, how can I help you? We were just planning to go to the festival, but it doesn't seem like there's much going on here yet. You came to the right place, but the festival isn't starting for another hour at least. They moved it by an hour. Something about the daylight and making the fireworks more visible as a result. Oh, that's a shame. And I'm kinda getting hungry too. I can help you with that. What you got? Skewers, meatballs, all kinds of grilled things really. Well, I could go for some meatballs. I bet you could. How about you two? I'll take some veggie skewers for now. I'll take the grilled cheese. No problem. Just let me pack this up for you. Thank you. I guess this makes us your first customers of the day. What do I owe you? For you three, it's free. That's very kind of you. Thanks. Have fun. Thanks, man. Zhong's always working. The guy needs a break. So, what do we do now? Should we go back? Well, we're already here and got all this stuff. Let's just sit down somewhere. Sure. We went off to the side as more dragons arrived and started setting up their various booths. How are the meatballs? They're actually pretty good. How about your stuff? It's great. I'm not surprised, honestly. You never know with stuff that comes out of food carts, but Zhong doesn't disappoint. What about yours, Amelia? It's been a while since I ate grilled veggies, to be honest. These really are pretty good, just crunchy enough on the outside. Mama? Who dis? Oh god. Ah! Whizzing past all of us, Amelie comes crashing into Amelia, sending both of them tumbling into a nearby bush. Ow. Wow. Amelia! Amelie! No need to panic, I'm fine. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Adine crashed in the place. I took my eyes off her for just a second, and she dashed off faster than I could run after her. That was very reckless of you, Amelie. You know Mum is still recovering. I told you I'm fine, Remy. No need to dote on me. Now then, what do we say, young lady? Excuse me? Correct. Fancy seeing you two here, Adine. I was just trying to take Amelie out to get some fresh air before the current day of the festival really kicks in. I didn't exactly expect to see you guys around here. Well, we couldn't exactly do much since everything's been delayed by an hour or so. I also kind of wanted to just stay here. Now I know what you might say, but this feels like a place where I shouldn't be. What do you mean? Let's just say it's one of those romantic spots where you'd be better off one-on-one with Amelia. I think I get what you mean. I do too. You've got a good eye. Sure, let's go with that, Amelia. Okay, run along, Amelie. Mummy's got some things to talk out with Daddy in private. I just smirk at the white dragon and shake my head as Amelie steps back over to Adine. Adine picked up Amelie and after giving me a smile and a nod went along the path back toward the festival plaza while I looked at Amelie and Remy out of the corner of my eye. Only to catch a glimpse of them kissing under one of the trees. Ah, wait. Are they nuzzling noses? Geez, guys, you two are in public. What's next? Holding hands? It's good to see that it's working out. Wait, he's coming back alone. Did something happen? Why is Amelia not coming? Could we talk one-on-one for a bit? Sure. If you got something weighing on your mind, go ahead. I just can't thank you enough for the gift that you've given me. You probably heard me say this a million times before, but in my job, I always have to smile when serving customers. Every time I did, I felt like I was surrounded by people all the time, yet I felt so alone. All those people have their own lives, families, friends and relationships. And yet I had none of that. In a world where everybody else seemed to be happy, I was the odd one out who had to pretend in order to belong. How could that not have eaten away at me day after day? Yet one day I heard about the plans of the humans coming here. Like many others, I was very excited at the prospect of our myths coming true. And then, the day when Reza stepped through the portal, amidst all the pomp and fanfare you could imagine, it was quite a sight to behold, really. You wouldn't believe how much joy I felt during that moment. Emma, of course, took all the limelight she could. First there was a big speech in front of a huge crowd, and then a procession after she'd officially welcomed Reza. When it was time for you to arrive, it was decided that it wouldn't be a public event this time due to security concerns. I knew that Emma wasn't going to be there if she wasn't able to make it all about herself. I begged her to let me do it, just to be able to get this close to a human at least once, to talk with them and see what they were like, to experience them. She told me that if I did a few favours for her, I could be the one to greet you. I knew that she wasn't going to be there anyway, but if I didn't do what she wanted, she would have just sent some other lackey instead. So I did everything she asked for. She did keep her word though, and in the end, I was the one who would introduce you to this little world of ours. It might not have seemed like much to you, but let me just go ahead and stop you right there, Remy. Despite how it might have seemed, it very much meant a lot for me to be met with you of all people. Just imagine for a second, if it was any other dragon. What if it was Maverick, you know? Anna would have immediately jumped at a chance to get some samples, and who knows how that would have ended. Maverick would have been incredibly hostile and have made a bad first impression, but you were friendly, knowledgeable, and helpful the whole way through. And this little world of yours is so much more vast and important than you'll ever realise. It's the world I've been fighting tooth and nail for, poured my blood, sweat and tears into making better for so long, I can't even remember where I started. You have nothing to be ashamed of, and nothing to thank me for. Saving and reuniting you with your fiancé was the least I could have done to repay your kindness and your friendship. I told you before, I like you like I would my own brother, and that's just what us humans do with those we call our brothers. We look out for each other. I was very curious to see how much our myths would line up with reality, and I was even more overjoyed when you visited me in the library. When you accepted my invitation and came to my house, I was just glad to have you there. Despite our little argument about Anna. It seemed like you wanted to be there and weren't just someone out to use me in some way, and I began to feel hope. When I met you in the park, I think the only reason I could tell you everything about myself was because I knew you were going to leave again eventually. Thanks to you, I was also able to reconnect with the Dean. Now, it just seems so petty to not have spoken with her for such a long time. All those times when I felt alone and depressed, I really was only a phone call away from someone who still cared about me. But even then, I never expected you to go out of your way like this, just for my sake. And all I ever did in return is whine and complain to you the whole way through. What did I do to deserve such kindness? Despite our differences in opinion about Anna, you've always been one of the friendliest dragons in this alien and frankly rather harsh world. When Reza was loose in the other timelines, you never gave up trying to help whenever I asked for something. You even helped me try and stop him one way or the other later on down the line, with mixed success, but the effort was there. Despite everything you suffered through, you always managed to try and see the good in the situation, and even when you're at your deepest, darkest pits of your own mind. And while we're at it, let me drop a bit more of information on you. Remember how strangely friendly Emma got with you recently? You didn't. Oh, but I did. On the day I warned her of the meteor, you also came up as a topic, and I pretty much threatened her face to face to get her act together, because I've known something about you never wanted me to know. I know you were contemplating ending it all on the day we met in the park. That was one of the reasons I wanted you to reconcile with the Dean immediately, and why I told you about Amelie, even though I knew you weren't ready to be a father yet. I had to give you something to live for, something more than just our friendship. Because I've seen the consequences of the otherwise. What are you going to do once you get back to your own world again? I'm leaving it and coming back as soon as possible. All of you, but especially Anna, is just too important to me now. I could never stay back there after all that I've been through. I can say that I've done what I believed was right. You should be careful with rhetoric like that. Let me guess, that kind of talk makes it very easy to justify any means when it serves the right cause, whatever that may be. That no matter what I think, I should keep in mind that I might be held accountable for my actions by others or even myself. I heard this before from you too, Remy. I haven't done what I've done just because I think it's for the right reasons. I'm aware of the possible consequences as well. But Anna's untimely death in the last cycle just made me jaded and angry at the world for ripping us apart in a similar fashion that it ripped you and Amelia apart. Up until then, while I was aware of the potential consequences of my actions, in this timeline, I've just stopped caring about them. I'm doing whatever feels right, and I just can't care about the what-ifs anymore. I'll do my part to help humanity survive, but what happens to them after they failed us all by sending a crook like Reza as ambassador, and then fail to save Anna's life in the previous timeline? I want nothing more to do with them. I'll do my mission, and then they can figure out the rest for themselves. My conscience will be clear. In the end, we all have to make our own decisions. I just wish I could be as brave as you. Don't think bravery has anything to do with it. This is just determination and spite at this point. Spite? Yeah, spite. Spite against the world that would try to rip so many families apart. And for what? Don't answer that. Get your scaly behind back to Amelia and live the life you deserve, Remy. You have such a way with words. Don't make me drag you over to her, mister. Ah, fine. That's it, go have your happy ending. Remy and Amelia quickly reunited, and we proceeded on back toward the festival plaza ourselves shortly afterward. We talked a bit more about their future plans, but with having 3 mouths to feed instead of just 1 or 2 after all, Amelia's gonna need to find some kind of work. Being a biologist, I actually casually threw in an idea of Amelia and Anna working together, but the idea was shot down at least for the time being, while Damien's situation is undecided due to the incoming court case. And of course the fact that Anna is a notoriously bad work partner, one of the few negative things about her I really can't argue with. Well, for now at least. Maybe I can help her soften up in future. Before long though, we met up with the Dean and Emily, and the 5 of us said our goodbyes, with me heading home for the time being. That was okay, just a little chill out, but I'm starting to feel like a zombie. I have to be nearing the end by now, right? I crashed into bed, by now not even caring that I haven't made it. So many dragons. I think I overslept. Hold on, a message? I saw you out in town with Amelia and Remy. Leaving me for last, are we? I see how it is. I'm just kidding, but call me idiot. My, someone's getting jealous of not getting some attention. I do recall Maverick saying how she can be feisty when she's needy. Looks like it's time for the final date. Let's do this. So yeah, this is the end of chapter 4. This is it. I pick up the phone tentatively and dial Anna's number. Judging by the message she left me, she was in a good mood. However, this was the day she and I would make our vows to each other in every timeline. This is the day she promises me anything for the cure, and the day I promise her said cure. And even then, despite having it and giving it to her weeks ago, and even seeing the paper from her doctor that her cancer has gone into remission, I can't help but feel this sense of fear, this sense of dread. What if everything I've done, everything we've been through has changed nothing? The sound of the phone dial tone is maddening while I wait for her to pick up. And she's here. I gulp nervously as I approach the door. I don't think I've ever been this stressed about Anna before in this timeline. Hey, so you wanna do something today, Yora? Oh come on, stop being such a wuss around me. Something's weighing on your mind, so spit it out. You know what? I think you need this first. This should loosen your tongue. She stuffs some kind of big envelope into my hand and shoves me away with her hand, shooing me away to read it. I begin flipping through them, slowly reading through the pages, which, judging by the wording and the stamps, is some sort of medical record. Even through the myriad of questions that you still refuse to answer despite our counsel, one routine checkup remains. Treatment plans cancelled due to unprecedented amounts of antibodies in your bloodstream, unmistakable change in genetic makeup, signs of carcinogenic materials all less than genotoxic thresholds to cause issue, remainder of DNA damage almost undetectable. The vast majority of damaged tissue has been expunged, and immune response is uncharacteristically fast in detecting and removing any new ones. Signed, Dr. Valido. My hands begin to tremble as I read the final lines out loud on the paper, and by the time I get to the signature of the doctor, I drop the whole thing, my breathing shaky. As I look at Anna, I can see her dainty arms spread out in the open, almost as if waiting for me. Come here. In a reversal of the first time I was at Anna's house, this time I'm the one who gets the uncontrollable urge to lunge. I tackle her to the ground and wrap her into the biggest hug I could muster, burying my tear-filled face into her chest. Wow, watch it, moron! I don't even respond to her angry outburst. I just hold her against me, clinging onto her like my life depended on it. There are no words. I was so afraid. Anna sits up as best he can, while I'm still clinging to her, the shift in position making my head rest in the crook of her neck. Go on. Tell me, what's eating away at you this time? I was afraid all my efforts would be in vain. Like you come in through the door and tell me you're about to be arrested or that you're dying of cancer? That's what happened back then, didn't it? Yeah. You showed me that paper telling us your cancer went into remission a few days ago, but when we went to save Amelia, I completely forgot that portal travel was what essentially killed you in the end. But that was before any sort of cure was given to me. By the time we went back with the portal, I was well on my way to be cured, but I didn't tell you this. But just the night before you called us all together, I used the second dose, so even if the portal had done something to me, there was an active dose within my bloodstream working its magic in the meantime. I was prepared just as much as you were. There's nothing for you to be afraid of anymore. There is no killer on the loose. I'm healed. You were the investigator when the police did their little raid, and it wasn't on my lab, but Damien's house. Everything that happened to me in the previous timelines you prevented, one way or the other. So, I guess it's time for me to fulfill the promise I made to you back then, even if I only remember it through vague dreams. Wait, you don't... She puts a clawed finger on my mouth to silence me. Quiet. I know what you really want. I know what you really need. So, let me quote something I bet you're dying to hear, even if you don't want to admit it. I said, if you can cure me, I'll give you whatever you want. I know there's politics involved, and I know it might not even happen, but this is my last straw, my last hope. And after all was said and done, you did it. You really did. So, just like what we talked about a few weeks ago, I don't care if you're too much of a coward to admit to what you truly want, but I keep my promises. So, have me. I know I'm the reward you were fighting for all this time. I owe you everything. As her arms locked around my back and pressed against me, I could feel myself just melt into her embrace. The world around me slowly disappeared as my mind and body focused solely on Anna. This was my moment, my reward. I turned my head upwards before pulling back away from her neck before diving in for a kiss. And she didn't even hesitate to return it. Sure, we shared a few over the past 2 weeks, and even had some make-out sessions, but most of them were charged with grief, fear and emotion. But not this one. She felt the raw, unbridled passion burn red-hot within me, emotions I kept in check as much as I could, even if she could see right through me whenever we were in bed together. We eventually pulled apart and gazed into each other's eyes, and she could still see the longing within me. I know it's been weeks since you were there at the facility for that little coffee break, but I never properly discussed one thing with you about that day. I'm not sure what there is to discuss. I have a habit of being punctual, and I heard some snippets of conversation between you and Damien. I didn't exactly eavesdrop, though. All I heard was you mentioned the human, and then Damien asked if you think I could protect you. I didn't even think about my response. I just went for the nearest blunt object I could find to take him down. And then he had the balls to order me around, and even threatened to, how did you put it, blow his brains out. Considering how you act around me, I never would have expected that kind of behaviour from you. It's like you're a completely different person. I didn't really want to end up as a murderer, but seeing you cornered like that, and with that bastard's tail between your legs and him looming over you... My fists ball even as I hold on to her. I just wanted to hurt him. It took all the effort in the world to not just beat him into a pulp, and the fact that he tried to mouth off was enough for me to try and prove a point. Especially after I already warned him. I really didn't expect him to get that desperate. Which reminds me, I have no idea how he found out where I live. It's not exactly common knowledge. Nobody who knew about it before Damien came to my house was available for him to ask about it, and I doubt they would have told him. Anyways, enough about that bastard. Obviously, seeing you in such a disgusting situation lit a fire under my feet, and I just followed my instincts, mostly. What do you mean, mostly? Well, my deepest instincts were telling me to turn his scaly ass into a colander or tie his spine into a pretzel. I kind of ignored those ones. And we're all better off for it. You don't need to stoop to Rez's level, even if it's in defense of somebody else. Some things, or some people, are just worth fighting for. I know. I still kind of find it unbelievable that out of everybody, you'd pick me to help like this. You're the only one who came to me willingly and without any ulterior motives. Or did you? Well, making sure my girlfriend stays alive and healthy could be viewed as one, no? Maybe. And here I was, ready to use you to save my own miserable life. You're talking about asking for the blood sample? And you still came back for more. You let me do all those tests on you. And you didn't complain this time around. I vaguely remember that being something you were terrible with previously. I mean, you gave me a really good incentive to keep my mouth shut. Besides, I owed it to you. No, you didn't. You never owed me anything. You could have told me to pound sand when I asked for your blood, but instead you handed me the cure, or at least a sample of it. So in return, I'll give you everything I am, if you really think you're ready for it. I wouldn't be here otherwise. You may have some idea about what kind of person I am, thanks to your time travel shenanigans, but you really have no idea what you're truly getting into. Yeah, I'll manage. Confident, aren't you? It helped me get this far, didn't it? I suppose. So, are we going to do anything, or are we just going to sit here on your floor all night? Well, I know it's not the spectacular finale that everybody hypes up, but do you want to go watch some fireworks maybe? Sure, I could go for the fresh air. I slowly forced myself to separate from her once more, my body achingly trying to refuse my will. Once I do get up, I lend her a hand and help her do the same. A few minutes later, the two of us leave the house, finding our way toward the same viewing spot I always seem to find myself in, only like a day or so earlier than usual. I see you're familiar with the spot. Yeah, everybody I ever went to see the fireworks with tends to come here to avoid the crowds, you included, so it's kind of no surprise that you brought me here. Even if it's for an earlier, less flashy show. Do you have any plans to see the finale, by the way? Yeah, I was kind of thinking about calling everyone together for that one. I'm not good with crowds, especially ones that contain people I share personal baggage with. But maybe I'll endure it, just this once, for you. I'd love that. Of course you would. We waited quietly as the stillness of the night enveloped us. Soon I heard the sound of the first rocket making its way into the night sky, after which it exploded into a pattern of colours. More rockets followed, their thunderous noise echoing throughout the land. There's our fireworks show, with no Reza interruptions. Anna and I lean against each other as we gaze at the pretty explosions in the sky. However, before long, we both just started ignoring them as our eyes began to slowly wander toward each other. I gently put my arm around her shoulder, slowly giving her back a slight rub. With me leaning into her shoulder, she puts her head over mine, resting her scaly chin on the top of my head as we share this tender moment between us. The quiet rest is only interrupted by the myriad of colourful explosions in the sky above. This is all I ever wished for. I know. And I'll make sure it lasts, even if it kills me. Don't say things like that, Anna. I fought way too hard to keep you alive for you to be killed by anything at this point. I know, it's just a figure of speech. Don't be such a worrywart, or else you're going to be the one to develop cancer next. I'll stop once we're done with the fireworks finale tomorrow. That's when things will be decided for real. What do you mean? Even though Rez is in custody, I don't know what my meddling has wrought, and every single timeline, Tomorrow's going to be the key moment where the future is truly decided. Since I don't know what's going to come next due to him being out of the picture, there's no way for me to anticipate anything. I just hope that we can all get together and have some fun without anything going wrong. It's always nice to consider all the options, but I think you're overthinking it for once. I guess we'll see, but for now, let's just continue what we have for the moment. Good idea. I lower my head to listen to her chest once more, my face pressing against the soft leathery scales of my beloved dragoness. And to think I never believed something like this was possible to happen to me. Huh? I can feel the grip of her clawed hands tighten around me. Up until Reza arrived, I didn't even think humans were real. And after he did, I kind of thought you were all just as pompous jerks as he was. I tried to play a bit nicer due to my desperation back when you arrived, kind of trying to hide my prejudices caused by one bastard. But from the moment we first met, at least in this timeline, you were always looking out for me, always there to try and help no matter what. I still see that moment we shared in your house back a few weeks ago. You looked so lonely and heartbroken, scared, afraid. Even though you're right there in the moment with me, you looked like a cornered animal about to surrender to their fate. You looked like you were bracing yourself to be rejected. I was. There was no way for me to know how you'd react to anything I told you. You could have just as easily snapped at me, called me an insane lunatic, and ran off. And I had half a mind to, but you just looked so sad and pathetic. The sight of you looking so dejected just hurt to see. And you looked and sounded so sincere while you told me everything. I couldn't just leave you like that, even if my mind was screaming at me to do it. We tightened our grips over each other even further, my fingers and her claws digging into the other. I told you already, but I would see the world burn for your sake if it came to that. I know you would, and after everything, I wouldn't doubt it for a second. Slowly, it seemed like the fireworks show for tonight was winding down, the quiet of the night settling back in all around us. Anna's tears dried up eventually, and as the cold of the night began to set in, I could feel goosebumps on my arms. We should go back to your home before you catch something. Cool, good idea. We get up from our sitting spot and begin making our way back to the apartment. Thankfully, just like how it didn't take us too long to get here, we got back just as quickly. And we're back home. Yeah. Indeed. I proceed to lean in and give her a kiss on the cheek before rubbing my eyes. I feel a yawn collect myself in my throat while I do so. Tonight was truly unforgettable. No, it wasn't. Not yet. What do you mean? She lurches forward and returns my kiss, but instead to the cheek, she goes for the lips. I just close my eyes and lean in toward her, returning her with an ever-reddening face. As she pulls away after an agonizingly short kiss, she presses her muzzle past my face, and I can hear her breath by my ears, her voice low and husky. I know what you really want. I know you've been holding back on me, even though I told you enough times not to. I could tell back before we went out to see the fireworks. You can't hide it from me. I open my eyes and look at her with quivering breath, my hands shaking almost uncontrollably as I touch her scaly shoulders. Gazing deeply into her glistening eyes, I can see a hitherto unseen sparkle of life. Now then, don't lie to your doctor. Tell her the truth. I can't hold myself back any longer. It took every ounce of will for me to keep myself at bay, but the way she's looking at me just tears at my chest. I want you, Anna. Let's do it. More than anything, in this godforsaken world, I want you. I should take this more seriously. I knew it. Suddenly she shoves me away, making me stumble back onto the floor. I look up at her as she looms over me with that ever-present cocky smirk on her muzzle. As she leans forward, she looks like I'm about to become her prey. Get in bed. I'll be with you in a moment. I scramble off of the floor away from her, throwing my clothes off before she could get the chance to tear them off of me. In a scant few minutes, she approaches me. Slowly sliding into the bed next to me, she snakes her head closer to mine, her tail curling over herself and on top of me. I take the initiative and scoot closer to her, giving her a soft kiss. The doctor is in. Now let's see what you humans are made of with a bit of a field test. As soon as she's finished saying that, she gets on top of me, plunging me into the eternal darkness under her soft squishy scales. My mind just falls apart, turning into an incoherent burbling mush, and I get lost inside her warmth. The last thing I hear before my mind blanks out completely is her haughty, self-assured voice taunting me. That's a good little human. We did it! We had a happy ending with Hannah, and then it's chapter 5. Who knows what's going to happen, but we're going to be finding this out very soon. But this is it for now. This is Osho signing off, and hopefully I will see you next time.